You've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy.
Hey, thank you for being on board. You've just tuned into the only broadcast television show that covers everything Star Trek, and I'm your host, Ambassador Kreutz, but my colleagues call me Bryan. But for the fans out there, since we have a family-type relationship, you can call me BK, and by me is my co-host, the best one in the galaxy. It's Lili Fox-Lim.
Thank you for the introduction, BK.
Oh, yes!
I'm so excited for today's episode. We have an incredible guest today, Tommy Hinkley.
Oh, indeed we do, Lili. Tommy Hinkley's been acting since the 1980s and got his break in the industry as a periodic regular on the Showtime series Hard Knocks opposite Bill Maher. Now, he's also been on other popular TV shows such as Who's the Boss, The Golden Girls, MacGyver, and every mother and wife's favorite show, the hospital one called ER.
And that's just to name a few. He's also been in popular films like The Cable Guy, The Little Vampire, Ocean's 13, and Leatherheads.
Nice. He comes to us on tonight's show to not only discuss his past projects, but to also discuss a role as a reporter on the Enterprise B bridge.
Ooh, isn't it amazing that Star Trek is still around after all these years?
Oh, yes, it absolutely is, Lili. Since the 1960s until now, Star Trek has been able to keep its multi-million-dollar fans and continue to add to them.
And it's also great that they're able to go back into past TV episodes or films to rectify storylines and or to add to them.
Sure, I guess, but where is all of this coming from, right?
I'm just being vague. But now I'm excited about the collaboration between Star Trek and OTOY.
Oh, what? Oh, no way! I thought I was going to break that exciting news to you. You heard about it.
Snooze, you lose. Also, I knew you were probably going to do it, so I wanted to be the one to break the exciting news to our audience.
I'm still laughing over the Klingon knife. This is so cool to get to share this news with you fans. What can you tell us about it, Lili?
Okay, OTOY is a company that makes 3D technology for creating images and backgrounds. They use CGI and they work with a skilled team to make super realistic ones.
Nice.
Too.
Roddenberry and OTOY had to get permission from Paramount first. Then they teamed up with Apple Vision Pro to give Trekkies like us an exclusive look at these amazing new Star Trek experiences.
Yes, BK, they blessed us with an 765-875 Unification.
Oh, yeah.
The iconic actor William Shatner's last appearance on screen as Captain Kirk.
Oh, that's right, Lili. To make this happen, they brought in veteran actor Sam Witwer, who played a middle-aged but younger version of James T. Kirk, and Lawrence Selleck, who took the role of Spock, originally played by the great, late Leonard Nimoy. But they used a mix of heavy makeup, prosthetics, and lots of CGI to create their 90s looks. It also turned out so real. To me, they did an amazing job.
Oh, indeed they did, BK. With not enough time, I'm going to tell you a quick run-through about this short film, or is it an episode? You know what? It's a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece. Indeed it is.
So Captain Kirk gets brought back in the future and meets Yor from Star Trek Discovery, thanks to Saavik. And in the story, Yor takes Kirk to the Kelvin timeline so he can meet older Spock just before Spock dies.
Yes, it was super amazing to see Kirk and Spock together again. Even with different actors playing them, it looked like Shatner and Nimoy, you know?
Yep.
Trekkies like us were in tears watching their reunion, especially after everything with Kirk's death in 1994's Generations. Now, they tied in details from the story's lore and brought stuff from other timelines into this one.
possibilities, Spock said. And if Genesis is indeed life from death, I must return to this place again.
Yeah, it was incredible. You can catch the Roddenberry Archives on the OTOY YouTube page, or you can also watch it using your Apple Vision Pro.
Well, hey, this is going to be cool. We'll be right back with our guest today. Our interview guest is Tommy Hinkley right after these messages.
A Captain's Log returns in a moment.
Hey, welcome back!
Tonight, our guest has been on multiple television shows and films, and the films that he's been in have been overall box office hits, making $520 million in the USA and Canada and $922 million in the world globally. So please help us welcome Tommy Hinkley on tonight's show.
Hey, Tommy, welcome to A Captain's Log.
Hey, Bryan. Hey, Lili. How you guys doing?
Now, let me ask you this first question. You were born in California, went to high school in Oregon, and did some off-Broadway in New York. Can you tell us about your career path and where that led you to where you are today?
Well, Bryan, Lili, let's go way back. Let's go in the Wayback Machine, San Diego. And I wanted to become an elementary school teacher like my mom. She was my teacher in the 6th grade. Of course, I got amazing grades, best grades I ever got in my life, because I couldn't tell her I didn't have any homework. So I got good grades. And I wanted to become a school teacher like her, elementary school. And after dropping out of community college 3 times, I thought maybe that wasn't in the future for me. And I took a year off. And after a year, I was just feeling a little bit like a loser. Half my friends were halfway through college and knew what they wanted to do. And the other half were in construction and started families. And I thought, I gotta go back to school, but I keep dropping out. So let's not make it about what you study. Let's just take the most easiest, most fun classes, so it's impossible to drop out. So I'm looking at the curriculum. I'm like, okay, well, what would be the easiest, most fun classes? And if there's a lot of girls, that's a bonus. And I'm looking at the curriculum. I'm like, dancing and acting, how hard could that be? It turns out actually pretty hard, but I got straight A's, made the dean's list, and I fell in love with acting. And it was funny because then I was offered a 2-year ballet scholarship, which I did the first year of, and then New York was calling me. All my favorite actors were in New York at some point, so I moved to New York in late '82, September. And didn't know anybody. I had one phone number, and that girl didn't pick me up at the airport, so I was kind of stranded, never saw her again. I joined an improv group, the biggest one in New York at the time in the 80s, Chicago City Limits, and I studied with them for a couple years. And I joined an off-Broadway theater troupe called the Neighborhood Group Theater, and did that for a couple years. And it was great. It was really, being an actor in New York in the 80s, I felt like a young pirate before pirates were cool, honestly. And it was really fun and a real highlight to my life. I mean, that's one reason I love 80s music so much, because that was the soundtrack to my, young New York life. Everybody I grew up with on television, I was working with, in movies and television. I Get Smart was one of my favorite shows. I'm working with Don Adams in Back to the Beach. I'm working with the Skipper and Gilligan. Connie Stevens played my mom. It was just, Leave It to Beaver, June and Wally, and then the Beav, they were the judges in the surfing thing. And then I did a movie called Earth Angel. It was a movie of the week. And I'm working with Mark Hamill. I'm working with Eric Estrada. I'm working with Rodney McDowell, which was funny because in Star Trek, which we'll talk about, I worked with Malcolm McDowell. I played Cindy Williams' boyfriend, from Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days. And, Sally Kellerman and played my mom in Dr. Paradise, a pilot that I did. And Frank Langella was my uncle. It's just some of the people that I've got to work with, had the pleasure of working with. And by the way, with the exception of one person, which we'll talk about later, everybody was super cool. So, I feel looking back, feel pretty blessed about the road I've taken.
Wow, what a career! Tommy, can I ask you, with all of the household names that you've worked with, is there one in particular that stands out for you?
There was a fundraiser. I don't remember what it was for, but it was some kind of a charity event, and it was at a small restaurant venue in West LA on Pico, is what I remember. And so I'm there at the event. I've only been in the business for like maybe a year, not even. And all of a sudden, in walks Mark Hamill. And I'm like, oh my God, this was before I worked with him on Earth Angel. And so I started to walk over there. And as I put out my hand to introduce myself, he goes, Nick Bronco, oh, we love your show. My son and I love your show, Hard Knocks. And I'm like, oh my God.
What? No way! That's incredible! He recognized you from Hard Knocks?
He recognized me from Hard Knocks. And I was like, oh my God, this is, pretty awesome. And it was like, dude, I love you.
Now, let me ask you this question. Can you share with us about how you got the part in Hard Knocks, the TV show from 1987?
We just did the 13 episodes. It was a crazy show. I mean, in the 4th episode, we blew the world up. We ended the world. And then we just came back and did, the 5th episode. The guy that directed and created it was Chris Thompson. And he did Bosom Buddies. He discovered Tom Hanks. And that was his show. I think it was right before he did our show. So it was pretty new. And I had worked at a comedy club as a doorman in New York City called Catch a Rising Star. And everybody was in there. And that was also my luck. I got to all the famous comics, any famous comic, I got to hang out and meet them and know them. And it was fun. But so moved to Hollywood and was staying with some friends on their couch. And I was only there for like 2 or 3 days. And they're taking me to my first Hollywood party. So I'm excited. It's in West Hollywood. They're in Silver Lake. So we drive there, and about 9 o'clock, 9:30, they're like, Tommy, this party isn't happening. Let's go home. I'm like, what? No, I mean, come on, in New York, parties don't even start till 11 or midnight. He goes, Tommy, this isn't New York. This is LA. It's not happening. I went, well, you guys go home. He goes, how are you going to get home? I go, you know me. I'll figure it out. I'll get a ride home. This party's going to happen. So all of a sudden, it's 10 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock, it's midnight. Party's not happening. So now I'm like, shit, I don't know my way around LA. I'm in West Hollywood somewhere. I got to walk. That's going to be 2 hours to Silver Lake. I better get busy. So I'm walking about 5 or 6 blocks, 7 blocks, and then there's the Improv. And I'm like, oh, great. It's just like a beacon of light in the darkness. I'm like, great. I'll know some comedians. I'll get a ride home. The first person I see when I walk in the door is Ron Zimmerman. He's a comedy writer. And he goes, Tom. I go, hi, Ron. He goes, Tom, you're an actor, right? I go, yeah. He goes, did you move here or are you just here on vacation? I go, no, I moved here. He goes, okay. Hey, you remember Bill Maher, right? I go, yeah, I know Bill. He goes, well, look, I'm a writer on his new pilot. It's called Hard Knocks. And it's this odd couple. And Bill Maher plays the really smart, long-haired guy who hates violence. But then there's the character, his partner, is this really dumb guy with short hair, and he loves violence. You'd be perfect. Great, thanks, Ron.
And now, a Showtime profile.
Hi, I'm Gower Rhodes, and this is my partner, Nick Bronco. Nick, tell the folks a little bit about yourself. Occupation?
I'm a private detective.
Right. Favorite food?
Beer.
Yeah. Turn-ons?
Chicks with tattoos.
What a shock. Turn-offs?
Movies without Clint Eastwood.
Another stunner. Hobbies?
Beer.
Last book read?
You mean all the way through?
Moving on. Favorite expression?
That's an easy one. I'd have to say it was this one. Because that's my
Your
main
main
look.
look, I've seen it. Okay, and our show.
Hard Knocks. And it's really cool. I mean, it's more than a show. It's a cable show.
No way! It's crazy how the world works. You're walking home that night in LA, and that leads you to an improv club that led you to your role in Hard Knocks. That was meant to be.
So I tell him, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pass. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, I've never done anything. I've never been on television. I've only done off-Broadway. You know, I don't want to embarrass you. He goes like, dude, please, you've got to come in for this. I went, Ron, look I really don't want to embarrass you. I've never done it before. He goes, please, we've seen over 200 actors. You have to come in. Please do me this favor. I'm like, okay, I'll come in. So a couple days go by. Back in Silver Lake, I take a bus to the audition at Paramount. I'm a little early because, you know, you got to play it safe. You're on a bus system. So I'm out on the bench right in front of the casting office, and I fall asleep. All of a sudden, someone's like shaking my shoulder. I'm like, what? They go, you were asleep? I go, yeah, sorry about that. She goes, well, they're ready for you. I went, oh, okay, great. She goes, you need some time? I go, no, I'm good. Let's go. So I go in there, and there's a line in the sides that say earthquake. And so I'm doing the audition, and then there's a room full of people. It's everybody. And all of a sudden I notice during my scene that there's like this 5 or 6 foot palm frond, this palm tree or something in there in a pot. And I'm not even thinking, I'm just in the scene. And all of a sudden I'm like, I grab it, I'm like shaking the I'm like, earthquake! And they're like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm thinking I'm having the most fun of my life. So I'm thinking it's going pretty good. So they all look like wide-eyed, and they're like, okay, thanks, Tommy. I'm like, okay. And then I leave. And I'm walking across this great lawn to get back to the bus, and the cashier comes running after me. She's like, Tommy, wait up. I'm like, what, is everything okay? She's running after me. I'm like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah. Hey, they want to sign you to a test option deal. I go, a what? A test option deal. I go, I don't know what that is. They go, well, who's your agent? I don't have an agent. She goes, what? I go, no. She goes, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Okay, I have some friends that are agents. Let them negotiate your deal, and if you want to stay with them, you can. I'm like, okay, great, thanks. Can I go? Like, what do I do now? And the next thing I know, I'm on a show. In my first audition.
That is the American dream, all wrapped up into an amazing story. It was completely meant to be for you. Now, can you tell us about Back to the Beach? You play the role of Michael in the Paramount Pictures film with Annette Funicello and Loughlin. Tell us about this experience.
So I was on Paramount, and right after we wrapped the show, I get a call from my agent, Lyndall Hobbs, who is an Australian director, was married to Chris Thompson. Remember, that was Hard Knocks was his show. And she's directing this new movie, summer blockbuster, starring Frankie Avalon, Annette Funicello, and Loughlin. So I'm auditioning to play the lead's best friend, Mountain, and I get the part. So this is just my second audition. And I'm like, this is amazing. It's just 2 auditions, 2 parts. Now, I don't know how much time goes by when I get the part. Maybe it's a few days, maybe it's a week or 2. But I get a call from the producer, Frank Mancuso Jr. And he's like, hey, Tommy. I go, yeah, Frank, is everything all right? He's like, yeah. No, we love you as Mountain. That's your part. But listen, we can't find anybody to play the lead. Lori Loughlin's boyfriend. We can't find anybody to play him. Would you mind auditioning for the part? I'm like, yeah, sure. I get the part. I'm like, this is awesome. You know, I guess if you got it, you got it. So it was super fun. And a great start. You know, it wasn't until years later that I found out just how hard it could be when it did slow down for me. You know, when we had a kid and I left the business, because my wife, you know, she retired as an actor, in 2007. And it just got really slow for us together at the same time because one of us was always working. And then all of a sudden we weren't working. It was 2007 and the market was starting to get bad. And I thought, you know what, let's just raise our kid out of town. So we moved to Boulder. But I left the business for 10 years and got back into it in 2017. So I've just been now I'm getting that taste of what it's like to be an actor starting out, because that's what it feels like. And but I look back and I go, that was a pretty great ride.
On the Enterprise B bridge, 3 guests of honor of the crew of the original USS Enterprise, Captains James T. Kirk, Montgomery Scott, and Commander Pavel Chekov, emerged from the turbo lift. And you, Tommy, one of the 21st century reporters surrounding these 3 legends of Starfleet with questions all at once, were you given scripted questions to ask, or was this more of an overly eager act to get in Shatner, Doohan, and Koenig's face? Like, can you tell us how this was from your perspective?
I don't remember, and I think one reason I don't remember is because it was all overshadowed about what was the ensuing event that's right around this corner. I remember it was very exciting for everybody, and we didn't have to create the energy of what you described, because that was the real energy on the set. I mean, this was a big deal that these guys were together again. And so I had, John Putch, I think it was to my left, but, and we were just crowded. There was just energy, and it was like we had to push up, and we're all there and excited. I don't remember anything being scripted. It was just, it was like, excuse me, hey, you're back on the bridge. It was this kind of stuff. And, he had that look on his face. It was just like, yeah.
A captain's log returns in a moment.
Oh, we're back. Thanks for beaming back with me, Lili, here on the captain's log. I'm in my quarters trying to find a set of 1994 Star Trek Generations, the film, trading cards, to beam over to Tommy Hinkley for an autograph. Whew. Found it. Computer, view screen off.
Hey, let's continue our interview with Tommy Hinkley. Tommy, Star Trek Generations filmed in 1994 on the Paramount lot, and I understand that you once autographed 1,000 official Star Trek trading cards with a cool story to boot. Tell us about this, if you don't mind. And, hey, Lili, welcome back. Now, this sounds like a no small autograph task, Tommy.
I found my Trek trading card for Tommy to sign.
Hey! Now you have maybe one more autograph. Tell us about this, though.
And it was fun. And it was fun because that is one of my trading cards. I have 2 trading cards, and one of them is me like that. And then with John Putch there. And then the other one is when I'm with, Malcolm McDowell, and I discover him on the table, and I'm like, you're going to be okay. And that's me in the trading card like that. That was the one they paid me $1,000 to sign 1,000 cards. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. This is going to be so easy. Easiest $1,000 I've ever made. No, not so. Oh my God, just after just signing 50, I'm like, woo, okay, hand cramp. And my signature just isn't quite as good at like number 35. And that's just 50, and I got to do 1,000. So it got to the point where I'd have to do 50 in the morning, 50 at lunch, 50 at night, and it just kept going. It ended up being like one of the hardest $1,000 I've ever made. I was like, come on now. And some of those signatures just did not look great. They did not look great. So that was pretty fun.
That's quite an accomplishment in making Star Trek fans happy with those autographs, Tommy. Now, Lili and I will be back for more in part 2 next week.
Yes, beaming over my cards to sign, Tommy. Trekkies, bye for now.